some very nice talks. So it's really great pleasure, Jeff, to have you back here. And I'll just leave it up to you to lead the evening.
All right. I'll just do a little mic test first. Can you hear me at the back? Okay. Nice to be here. Nice to see your faces. Glad you could come tonight. We can start with a little meditation, or actually I shouldn't have used that word. We can start with a little bit of stillness and silence for a while. I'm tending not to use the word meditation too much, because as soon as people hear the word meditation, they think, oh, I have to do something. I have to, I've got to get something, do something, achieve something, get rid of something, fix something, control something, make something happen. And all of that is not meditation. It's really interesting. I listen to quite a few what I would consider as wise teachers, not necessarily Buddhist, but they are offering teachings that are very universal. And of course the Buddha was really a master at being universal. The Dharma itself pretty much means everything as it is. So that's what the Buddha's teachings is to see everything as it really is. So listening to those great masters, they're also saying, it's like, stop trying too hard in meditation. Like, it's not as hard as you think it is, and you don't have to push, you don't have to force, you don't have to struggle. And the reason we do this is because in our daily life, that's what we're doing. So when we come to meditation, we just keep doing the same thing. So it's quite refreshing when we really understand what meditation is. It's not just relaxing and doing absolutely nothing and then just falling asleep and, just becoming blur and vegetating. That's also not the practice. But it is stepping out of all that busyness of our daily life, stepping out of the constant thinking processes. So it's really beautiful to be able to learn that balance between just being still, calm, quiet, allowing everything to be as it is, and even noticing when the thoughts come and go through the mind, but not having to do anything with them. A little bit like for some reason, a Thai traffic policeman just came to mind. And I love the fact in Thailand they have the day when they give presents to the Thai traffic police, those guys that have to stand on the corners and direct traffic at all hours of the day or night and such. It's a really, really terrible job, I think. But the Thai people appreciate them because they keep the traffic moving. So once a year, they give presents to these Thai traffic police, which I think is really sweet. Kind of shows a lot about Thai culture as well. So the image came up of, the traffic policeman he's not going, oh, there's my friend, whoever in that car, I'm going to give him preference, or, oh, this is a nice looking woman in this car, I'll give her preference. It's like, and small cars, big cars, trucks or whatever, it's like, it's all just traffic to the traffic policeman. And he just has to stop the traffic there, let the traffic flow here, stop the traffic there, let the traffic flow there. So when you're practicing meditation, it's really just a matter of just seeing what is really happening now in this moment, and even checking yourself, do I really have to do anything about this? Do I really have to stop my thoughts? Do I really have to change my attitude? Do I have to fix something? Do I have to correct or control something? So I'd like to guide you into a meditation. I've used the word again, but that's all right. I'm still training myself. I'd like to guide you into a relaxation and perhaps a little bit of stillness, a little bit of silence, and just see how it works for you. So I assume you've all been rather busy today. Bangkok is a busy city like all the others, and even if you were just relaxing today and you had to make your way here this evening, then you had to deal with traffic, you had to deal with people and other such things. So let's just, I wonder if we can drop one or two lights. I don't know if that's possible. It's rather bright. Oh, that's nice already. Yeah, don't turn mine out. Keep me on. Okay, that's lovely. So, if you're holding on to anything physically, just put it down. Let it go. If you, I was going to say kick your shoes off, but we already did that downstairs. Ah, it's Thailand. So, really, just loosen up a little bit. Maybe even just like roll your shoulders up and back and down. If you want to just, crack your neck a little bit or roll your neck around. Maybe even just moving your fingers, just releasing any tension. Yeah, have a little bit of a stretch if you like. And really settle into your seat. And come into a position where you don't need to move for a while. So one thing I really found very beneficial through these last 30 years of my own personal practice is stillness. My main great teacher, Sayadaw U Janaka, Chamye Sayadaw from Myanmar, he also always told us, just sit still as long as you can. And the secret there is that when you really become comfortable in stillness, physical stillness, then you start to experience mental stillness, especially if you take the physical stillness as your object of awareness. So maybe just let that sink in a little bit. Just gently close your eyes. I'm going to practice with you. If you put your hands wherever you like, on your lap, as you wish. Maybe just straighten your back. Maybe just grow a little bit taller. Maybe lift the crown of your head a little bit. And then just relax, again rolling the shoulders back and down. And take a nice, long, slow in-breath and really feel the quality of your breath. And a nice, long, slow out-breath. I find this is a really nice way to start a practice, a sitting meditation. And a nice, long, slow, mindful in-breath. Maybe pause for a moment. Long, slow out-breath in your own rhythm, in your own time, and relaxing as you breathe in, relaxing as you breathe out. Really enjoy breathing. Enjoy the awareness, the mindfulness of the breath. Enjoy the presence of your mind. And it doesn't matter if a thought sneaks through the gap between the breaths, you lose your awareness for a moment. It's fine. Let a thought come, let a thought go. Let the breath come, let the breath go. And relax. Breathe in and relax, and breathe out and relax. I don't know when the last time was that you really appreciated your breath. That literally, this in-breath now is giving you life. Without this breath, this body won't function. And then you won't have any of the things that you have. With the death of the body, the non-breathing of the body, the unconscious nature of the body, there is no money, there are no friends, there is no Instagram, there is no traffic, there is no stress. Now I'd like you to feel this in-breath, this next in-breath. Feel it from the beginning to the middle and to the end. Notice where the in-breath ends, not physically in the body, but awareness of the sensation of the breath at your nostrils. And the out-breath, slightly warm. Feel the coolness of the in-breath, and this cool sensation arises and passes away. The warmth of the out-breath, it begins and it ends. The coolness of the in-breath appears and disappears. The warmth of the out-breath is here and it's gone. Simply sensations. In-breath sensation, out-breath sensation. Let's drop the concept of breath. Let's drop the concept of in-breath and out-breath. Just feel sensation. Cool sensation on the in-breath. Warm sensation. Merely sensation. Can you lose the location of your nose? Can you clear the screen of your mind? Let the screen of your mind be blank. No mental images. No image of the body. And bring your attention to mere sensation. Feel the stillness of the body. Just the stillness. The feeling of non-movement. Presence. The screen of your mind is blank, empty. No intentional images. And listen to the sound of your mind. Listen to the stillness listen to the spaciousness. Stillness, space, and silence. The body is still. The screen of the mind is empty, space. And there's silence in the mind. Simplicity. Feel the relative peace. Nowhere to go, nothing to do. When thoughts arise, just notice them. Come back to feel the body, come back to the breath, and relax again. Be patient with yourself, be patient with your mind. Please notice that your breath is just breathing itself. You are not doing that. It works by itself, day and night. Your heart too is beating perfectly by itself. And all the other organs and systems in your body are operating in harmony. Your nervous system, your circulatory system, respiratory system, immune system, all your systems, all working in harmony, all by themselves. Miracles. Nature is operating through you. The laws of this universe are operating through you. And you are doing nothing, just sitting, relaxing, breathing, being real, being present. Even these thoughts that come and go. Notice how most of them you didn't intentionally ask to think these things. They simply arise due to their causes and conditions. And they pass away. When you really learn this skill of just being still, sitting in this spaciousness of your mind and the silence, we learn to watch from this space. And everything has its own nature. Everything is coming and going, arising and passing away, constantly in a state of change. So we've been observing the body. Now feel your breath coming deeper into your body. Feel the body moving with the breathing. And again, feel your whole body sitting here. Feel the body as energy. We have 5 physical senses. The gateway, if you like, the doorways between the physical world and the mind. And one of them is this sense of feeling, tactile sense, tangible sense. You feel your body, sensations arising and passing away. And just hear the sounds. Also constantly changing, coming and going. Vibrations, in fact. And smell the air intentionally with awareness. Taste your mouth. Any taste there? Or just the default, natural taste? And with your eyes closed, do you see some color, some light behind your eyelids? Some pattern, something changing, moving. Some energy behind your eyelids. The eyeballs don't stop seeing. In fact, all of our senses don't stop working. And check your mind. Ask yourself, am I present? Am I aware? Am I relaxed? Again, a beautiful simplicity. All the systems of the body are working. The breath is breathing. The heart is beating. All the senses are working. And the mind is present. The mind is working. Even thoughts coming and going. Mind is working. Actually, everything is perfect in this body and mind as it is. As it is. And all is well. Actually, every living moment, everything is always exactly as it is, and it is well. And as you're sitting here now, hopefully you feel safe. I definitely feel safe now. I hope you feel peaceful, bit of quiet in the mind. And I hope you feel healthy and strong, as I very much do. Safe, peaceful and healthy, here and now. And if you feel it, you can share it with someone you love. Maybe you're missing someone. Maybe somebody's sick and needs some little bit of extra metta, positive vibrations, pure energy. May they be safe, peaceful and healthy. From your heart to their heart, share some beautiful energy that you've created here. This wellness, this simplicity, this purity, this connection to pure energy. And not just one person, it can be another and another, anyone you like. Could even be someone if you've had some conflict, some difficulty, send some loving kindness, not expecting anything in return, but simply, may you be safe, peaceful and healthy. As I am, may you be. Break down the barriers between us and others, or make those connections stronger, heart to heart, no distance, no limitations, no conditions. And if you're happy in that state as you are, you have a nice flow, please continue. Otherwise, if you wish, come back to feel your body here and now. Feel your senses. And when you're ready, you may open your eyes, be aware of seeing color, light, shape, form around you. And if you like, you can start to move your body, some fingers, some toes, and have a little stretch, relax. Relax after relaxing. I always want to say welcome back when we do this, and it's like, but we didn't go anywhere. We were very, very present. I'll have to think up a better term than welcome back. Welcome back to the present. Feel free to take some notes if you feel like taking notes. Feel free to record if you would like to. I think this is already being recorded. You might get a copy of it if you want. So, I would like to share with you what I have discovered and what I have experienced through my 30 years of Vipassana. The talk tonight is titled Freestyle Vipassana. So this is what I call what I do now. I call it Freestyle Vipassana. It doesn't mean that I've created a new style, and it doesn't necessarily mean that there is no style. I still also give some guidance, some tips, some instructions, some ways to practice, especially if you would choose to come on a retreat with me. You'll find that I do run a retreat as Vipassana retreats are run around the world. I'm not a Buddhist monk, so I'm not doing formal Buddhist practices in my retreats, but it definitely has a nice Buddhist flavor to it, depending on where I am, of course. If I'm in a Buddhist monastery, it's a lot more Buddhist content. Other places, I teach in Turkey, for example. Turkey is, as you know, it's an Islamic country. Turks, to their credit, are very beautiful about their Islam. In fact, they're very open-minded. And certainly the ones that come to practice with me are very open-minded. Most of them are English educated, or, you know, they're pretty much just open-minded people. If you go to Istanbul or any of the big cities in Turkey, you'll find very liberal people, very beautiful people. So it's a beautiful thing that I can take these beautiful ancient Buddhist teachings and use them in a modern way and share with people from any culture. It doesn't have to be Buddhist. In fact, the Buddha himself wasn't a Buddhist. I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? And he wasn't, creating a Buddhist factory or something, where he was, pumping out Buddhists or something. People became enlightened through his teaching, and they themselves also went out and shared what the Buddha was teaching. But this is because it's like what we just did, the metta that we just did, even the Vipassana. When you feel, really deeply feel these experiences, you don't want to just, keep it to yourself or go and live in a cave somewhere. You want other people to experience it because it is so beautiful. The qualities of the Dhamma are beautiful in the beginning, beautiful in the middle, and beautiful in the end. That's a description of the Buddha's teachings. It's beautiful in the beginning, in the middle, and the end. So there's not much room for anything else in there. It's just all beautiful. So what I've found is that even in Australia, when I started my journey, people are interested how I started, and that was, I was spending time in the forests in Australia by myself. Australia has very beautiful nature, and sometimes I'd just stand in the forest, barefoot, kind of earthing myself, and I would think to myself, if I was a tree now, what would I be experiencing? Pretty random thought. I don't know where it came from. I do know where it came from. Past lives. I don't know. It wasn't a Jeff Oliver thought. So it was like standing there and just kind of being a tree in the forest and just trying to think like a tree. Have you tried that lately? Tried to think like a tree? You should do it sometime. It's really good for your mental health. And then I'd sit on the ground and kind of think like a rock. If I was a rock now, what would I be experiencing? And it was just coming up naturally. Again, I'm pretty sure it's past lives stuff that was just regurgitating in me. And I thought, I think I'm meditating. I don't know what meditation is, but I'm pretty sure I'm meditating. So then I went to find someone who could teach meditation. And by my good karma, I met a Vipassana meditation teacher. In fact, a Freestyle Vipassana meditation teacher, Christopher Titmuss. So you may have heard of him. He's quite senior now. He's a British man who was a Buddhist monk in Thailand for about 6 years, I think, before he disrobed and then started teaching Vipassana around the world. So having attended his retreat, which again I would say I have very good karma to do a retreat in the forest under his guidance, a very mind-blowing and mind-opening experience. His Dharma talks at night were answering questions that I didn't even know I had. He was just telling me things that, it was almost like he was telling me things that I already knew, but I didn't know that I knew them. It was just like reminders or something, but it was almost like waves of insights and realizations. One in particular was something he just quickly said, the future doesn't exist. And he just went on teaching. And at that moment, my mind just exploded. It was like, wait, the future doesn't exist? You mean there's no future? And I had this multiple experiences. I was disappointed, I was angry, I was elated, I was excited. It was like everything just happened at once because nobody ever really, I was 29 years old and nobody ever directly said to me, the future doesn't exist. I think that's a little bit too old to be told this very, very important information. So if you're hearing it for the first time tonight, I'm sorry that it took so long. But at that time, at that moment, I also realized I've spent pretty much the last 29 years of my life living in the future. I'm one of those people that's always projecting, planning. You know, I'm going to go there, I'll say this, I'll do that, I'm going there. So my mind was always in the future. And then suddenly I was slammed back into the present. Huh? No future? Oh, so? What? And it's like, this is pretty confronting, actually. So I had these, I was kind of angry because nobody told me. I was surprised because I hadn't heard it before. I was like shocked. But then I was really happy because I knew it was the truth. So it was a really beautiful experience. So from there and from that retreat, I realized I'm going to become a Buddhist monk. And I talked to the teacher about it. I said, I want to become a monk. And he said, basically, yes, like, go and do it for sure. That's exactly what you should do. So I went to other retreats. I went and did Goenka retreats. So most of you have heard of the 10-day silent Vipassana retreats. Where I teach in most other places in the world, that's all people think Vipassana is. So that's also why I like to give a talk about Freestyle Vipassana, because people think they've only heard of the 10-day silent Goenka Vipassana meditation courses, which are basically the same thing that is copy and paste, and it's all around the world. It's highly effective. It's very amazing. And if you ever get a chance to go and do a 10-day Vipassana course, go and do it. I highly recommend it. And then when you finish, come and do one of mine. Because you'll find it's very different. But it's like boot camp. It really sorts your mind out. But it is a very particular style of Vipassana. So so I did that in Australia, and then I met my teacher, and he's teaching Mahasi Vipassana. So many of you may have heard of Mahasi Sayadaw from Myanmar, a very amazing teacher, in fact, one of the greatest revered monks from especially the last century. And I had the good karma to be with one of his main disciples, which is Chamye Sayadaw or Sayadaw U Janaka, a direct disciple or student of Mahasi Sayadaw. So my teacher very much continued pretty much to the letter what Mahasi Sayadaw taught. So he developed his own meditation technique of observing the rising and falling of the abdomen. So many of you probably would have practiced this type of Vipassana as well. Mahasi Sayadaw also gave the technique of mentally labeling the experience of the present moment. So as you feel the expanding of your abdomen or the rising of your abdomen, you would say in your mind, rising, rising. And as the abdomen is contracting, you would say falling, falling. So the technique, the fundamental technique, was to observe this expanding and contracting of the abdomen in sitting meditation, and then label rising, rising, falling, falling. If a thought entered into your mind or interrupted that process, then you would say thinking, 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 and then come back to rising, rising, falling, falling, and such. Or if anything else happened, if you heard the dog barking or the bell ringing or something, then you would say hearing, hearing, hearing. If a pain arose in your body, you would say pain, pain, or feeling, feeling. Any other, like if a mental state arose, you might be anger, might be fear or something, then you would actually label and say the names of the experiences. So for many people, this is a little bit too much information and too many words going on. For myself, it was super effective. I think my mind is quite a perfectionist mind, so it loved systematic practice, so it was able to basically compartmentalize everything or label everything. Perfectionists like to do this. Have you noticed? They like to label things, put labels on everything, and make sure that everything's facing the right direction and it's all balanced and square and etc. etc. If I get chance, I'll talk about perfectionism, but that's not what the talk's about tonight. So there is this style called Mahasi Vipassana, Mahasi Sayadaw's Vipassana. Then when you go to Myanmar, you actually find out that there are many schools of Vipassana. There's Mogok Vipassana, and there's Sunlun Vipassana, and there's Pa'op Sayadaw Vipassana, and so many different teachers and different styles. My more recent teacher is really where I got Freestyle Vipassana from, and he is Sayadaw U Tejaniya. Sayadaw U Tejaniya, his teacher was called Shwe Umin Sayadaw. Shwe Umin Sayadaw was also under Mahasi Sayadaw, but he didn't stay with that strong labeling technique and the rising and falling of the abdomen, as far as I know. So U Tejaniya, who is still quite young, he's the same age as me. He's really quite young, I think. This is young monk. So he is he's actually becoming really quite famous around the world for his teaching. But his teaching is really super freestyle. If you go to his center, I don't know if he still does it, but at one stage, if you go there, he would ask, what did you come here for? And you're like, I want to meditate. He'll say, well, why do you want to meditate? I want to make my mind peaceful. Why do you need to make your mind peaceful? Because I'm stressed. Why are you stressed? Oh, because I work too much. Well, why do you work too much? It's like, sort it out for yourself. Like, he's asking the questions, but didn't we already ask these questions to ourselves? Like, why am I even in this job? Do I like being stressed? Do I like being in traffic? Do I like living in a city? Do I like pollution? Do I like all of these things? Like, am I actually intentionally putting up my hand and saying, I'm going to live under all of these conditions, but then when we talk to each other, we complain about it. So what is it? Are you just going to say, okay, this is where I am, this is how it is as it is, and let me be with things as they are? Or if you don't like it, if it's not suitable or it's not convenient for you, then go to a place that is going to tick your boxes and make you feel in harmony and in flow with everything in this lifetime. Luckily, there is this meditation technique, and if you were able to follow what I just shared with you, and by the way, what I shared with you is you're able to do that by yourself. So there were 3 things that I pointed out in that technique just now. It's not really a technique, but what I showed you. The stillness of the body. To become still physically. But then to be able to actually experience just the stillness. Without the mental image of, oh, my body's in this posture and, my butt's here and my leg's there and my nose is here and all the parts of the body and even the shape and etc. of the body. Clear the screen of your mind. You can do that. It's not as difficult as it sounds. Clear the screen of your mind. Just like you clear the screen. I was looking for my phone. Just as you clear the screen of your phone, you just switch it off. And it just goes blank. Then you clear the screen of your phone. You can clear the screen of your mind. It means don't intentionally project images onto your mind. Have you seen the screen of your mind? Do you know what I'm talking about? Can we get some head nodding or some head shaking? Do you know what I'm talking about when I say The screen of your mind. Yeah? Okay. I got a few nods and a couple of, what are these called? Shakings? I don't know. The screen of your mind is where you are seeing all the pictures and images. So if you just close your eyes now, and I want you to imagine, or remember, I will say, remember the last thing you ate today. You might have to rewind a little bit, but this is also mindfulness. Notice what you're doing now. You're in your mind, and you're just rewinding. What was the last thing I ate today? You see that mental picture? You see the screen of your mind? It's like you go to the movies, and there's a freaking great big screen there. It's the same thing in your mind, where you see that food in your mind right now. Okay, open your eyes. All your images, or most of your thoughts, other than some abstract thoughts that may be just words or calculations or something else, most of your thoughts will have some kind of mental pictures or images associated with it. It's also why I shared with you just now that if you close your eyes, you're actually looking at the back of your eyelids. And that when you see the back of your eye, because your eyeballs don't stop working. It's like we think, and maybe it's just because we were told it as kids or something, I don't know, but it's definitely an illusion, that when I close my eyes that I can't see. Okay, I can't see the things out there, but I'm actually seeing the back of my eyelids. And when I see the back of my eyelids and I actually look carefully, I'm seeing something shifting, changing, moving. It's like even, I don't know, are they blood cells or, energy, or what is it? And there's color there, there's movement. You're still seeing. You can't switch it off. And even you go to the quietest place on earth. And actually I lived in a cave when I was a monk for 3 weeks. It wasn't very long, but I lived in a cave. And it was so silent deep inside this cave. And you would think, oh, great, it's silent, good for meditation. What can you hear when it's absolutely silent? You hear your blood pumping through your brain. You hear your pulse. You hear your breath. And you hear the sound of silence. This is another excellent teaching. I won't go into it tonight, but I'd like to direct you towards it. Ajahn Sumedho, from the Thai forest tradition, direct disciple of Ajahn Chah, Longpo Sumedho, brilliant Buddhist monk. He teaches the sound of silence as a meditation object. If you've never heard of it before, look it up. It's probably Googleable, but I do believe he wrote a book about it. The sound of sirens. Bravo. The sound of sirens. The sound of silence. I didn't even know what it was when I first heard it. I love that when you hear something random and it's like you have no idea what it is. It's like your first moment as a human being, and there's some noise happening, and then all of a sudden it all filters through and it's like, oh, it's a siren. Oh, yeah. So, the sound of silence. When your mind becomes very still. So, when your body becomes still, and you actually become aware of the stillness of the body. Your body is so still, actually it's always moving, but relative stillness. And you take the relative stillness as your object of awareness, the stillness of the body. And you experience just the stillness itself. At that moment, the body dissolves. There's awareness of stillness. then the mind naturally, and if you clear the screen of your mind, it becomes spacious. There's no here or there. There's no this and that. All distance has dissolved when you are not seeing any images on the screen of your mind. And then you listen to your own mind. Because you're aware of the stillness and the silence, when you take the stillness and space, or you take one of those as objects independently, like you just observe the stillness of the body, when your mind is focused only on stillness, like any other object that you might want to choose as a meditation object, when your mind is focused only on stillness, it becomes silent. Not because you intentionally said, now I'm going to make my mind silent. Have you tried to do that lately? I hope it worked for you, because it usually doesn't, because that's control. And that's what we do in our daily life. That's what we're doing pretty much 24/7. We're all in a state of control. This is why the movie The Matrix is so pertinent, because it's a state of control within the matrix. We live basically in our own matrix. We live in a state of control because we have this thing called an ego, an identity, and it feels the need that it must make everything the way that it thinks that everything should be. Simultaneously, everything is as it is. Everything is as it is. The ego has nothing to do. Nothing to do. But it's very, very, very busy doing. Doing anything, everything. Have you ever really actually just tried to do nothing? Just do nothing. Your ego starts getting agitated. It's like, oh, but am I allowed to just sit here and do nothing? Shouldn't I be doing something? Like, shouldn't I be messaging friends or taking notes, or shouldn't I be fixing something? Isn't something wrong with the world or myself? Or, I should be doing something. Or shouldn't I be creative and making something? I should be, because that's what I've been told to do all my life, is create things, make things, calculate things even. It's really, really very difficult to just do absolutely nothing. And even harder, I can say. Actually, these are not difficult and they're not hard, especially when we fall into them, when we stop trying to do them. So there's a little paradox here. That when you're trying to be still, you're trying to be silent, you're trying to meditate, you're trying to get something or do something, that's still not it. One of my teachers, just someone that I listen to on the internet, Adyashanti, loves to use the word surrender. And I never liked that. My ego didn't like the word surrender. Most egos like the word fight, struggle. Again, push, control, make, get. Surrender. Even that, we can't do it. But when you really learn the art of surrendering, you fall into a natural state of awareness. And the mind goes quiet by itself. That's why we have to do a lot of what we call meditation. Because there are moments when you get so sick of meditating, you're so tired of meditating, you're so frustrated with meditating, you've been doing it for so long that you surrender and you say, yeah, I don't care anymore. And it's like, There it is. The silence, the stillness, the reality, the truth, the peace, the calm. Everything that you are looking for is already here. But because, by virtue of the fact that you are looking for it, you can't find it because you're in a state of control. It's paradoxical. But when you understand this, you start to learn the art of dropping. Or I like to use the word allowing. Allowing. So it's not a matter of, because we hear the words let go. Let go is still doing something. Even I use the term dropping. Dropping is doing something. Surrendering even is, it seems like doing something. So actually the real true state of meditation is a pure state of relaxation. It's a pure state of relaxation, but fully alert, fully present. Thank you. That was the sound of the mind being fully alert. Beautiful. I have a little, I'll call it a motto, I guess. I like to call it a mantra, but it's not something that you might use repeatedly. However, I'd like to share it with you. It's, so what I learned was that I would be going into meditations, but I would start meditating with expectation. Expectation, although it's nice in psychological terms to have something to look forward to. So, you know, if you're depressed or something like that, it's always nice to have something to look forward to. So expectation is kind of good for most people. But for a meditator, if you're going into meditation and you're expecting, I'm going to get peace, I'm going to, you know, I'm going to see my thoughts, I'm going to get rid of this, I'm going to stop my anger or my fear, or I'm going to do this and that and whatever, then you're entering into the meditation with an attitude already, with almost getting ready for battle. I'm going to get something, I'm going to do something, I'm going to achieve something, I'm going to fix something here. So when I saw these expectations, then I started to think to myself, and it was really definitely a phase that I went through in my practice. I realized that I didn't know what was going to happen. I'd sit down to practice and I thought, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. How could I know what I'm going to experience in the next 30 minutes or 1 hour? How could I know? You don't know. And even right here now, our experience is we don't know. You don't know the next word that I'm going to say. Even I don't know. As you can see, I'm not reading notes here. I don't know what I'm going to say. And we don't know the next sound we're going to hear. We don't know the next feeling we're going to feel. We don't know any of our senses. We don't know the next smell, the next taste. It's somewhat predictable. It's probably going to go a lot like this for maybe the next 20, 30, 50 minutes or whatever. But we still don't know. And we don't know the next thought we're going to have. We don't know the next emotion or reaction that we're going to have. So actually, all of us are living in this state of not knowing. But again, our very clever, tricky ego creates an illusion that it knows what's going to happen. That it's kind of, again, that mind that's constantly projecting into the future, and it's predictable to some extent. I know what's going to happen. You know, we're going to sit here for, you know, another 30 minutes or an hour or whatever it's going to be, and then, you know, we're going to do this, and then we're going to go and do that, and da-da-da-da-da. It seems like we've got everything planned. But in actual fact, on a moment-to-moment basis, or a constant flow of this present, we don't know. And so when this comes as a very strong insight, in fact, your whole being becomes a state of not knowing. And it seems funny when you hear great masters and they say, oh, I don't know anything, and you think, that's bullshit, you know everything. And it's like, but there is actually a state where you realize that you don't know. Okay, I know what time it is. Yeah, I know how to, go and catch the BTS or whatever. I know. But I don't know anything about the next moment. I don't know. In fact, there's like this baseless, a realization that everything, or I should say nothing, has a foundation. That when you look into any phenomenon, it's actually baseless. It has no foundation. It's also anatta, non-self, or anicca, no impermanent. It's transient. It's not stable. It's not steady. It's not fixed. It's not permanent. When we understand this, we see that everything is in a state of flux and flow. And then we don't know what's going to happen next. So we start to live in that state. So I have this little reminder that I use even before sitting down, or when sitting down to meditate. I say, I don't know what will happen. I don't know what will happen. And this clears the mind. It clears the expectations. It can even clear away your practice. It can clear away the technique. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. And you sit in that experience of not knowing. Try it. See how it goes for you. You might only sit 1 minute in that state. Or it could be 30 seconds. Even a few seconds. Or it might last longer. The second part of this little mantra, motto, reminder that I have, I don't know what will happen. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. I don't know what will happen, but anything can happen. People get a bit scared when they hear that, especially if their mind is negatively geared. It kind of goes, oh, I don't know what's going to happen. Oh, anything can happen. Oh, something bad's going to happen. You watch a lot of people. It might be in your own mind yourself, or you might be around people, and I see it in people around me. They're very afraid of not knowing what's going to happen, and they're afraid that something bad's going to happen. And it's like, well, there's a 50-50 chance as far as I'm concerned. Something bad could happen, something good can happen. Something positive can happen, something negative can happen. How do we know? We actually don't know. So we live in that mystery. We live in that state of not knowing. And as I'm saying this, it's not that you force yourself to be in a state of not knowing. It's more a reminder, I don't know. Because actually you don't know. So it's actually the truth. When your mind is fixed on a present moment truth or reality, it becomes stable and calm. When your mind is fixed on a present moment truth, on a reality, on a wisdom, it becomes calm. The mind is stable. Concepts are unstable. Wisdom, truth, reality is stable. You enter into a meditation when your mind is already stable, you're going to go very well. Much better than if you go into a meditation based on concepts. I don't know what will happen. Anything can happen. And then the third part is, I will watch and learn from whatever happens. That's it. I will watch and learn from whatever happens. Whatever it is. So what this is the right attitude. I'm just here to learn. I'm here to watch. I'm here to learn. That's all. I'm not here to change, to fix, to control, to get, to stop, to do anything. I'm here. This is why I'm here, is to watch and to learn. Watching is mindfulness. Learning is wisdom. Mindfulness and wisdom. This is beautiful. So even before I've actually started meditating, I've put my mind in a state of removing the expectations, reminding myself I don't know what will happen, reminding that there are possibilities. actually we live in a sea of possibilities, opening up the mind to endless possibilities. Anything can happen. What am I doing here? I'm watching and I'm learning. It's very, for me, this came out of my heart. It came out of my experience. So for me, I still feel that this is a very intimate, if you like, reminder. But I'm happy to share it. If you'd like to take it, use it, please. It's freeware. You can keep it. I don't know what will happen. Anything can happen. I'll watch and learn from whatever happens. This last part is really important too. I'll just watch and learn from whatever happens. Means you're open, ready. And that anything that happens, whether it's positive or negative, you take it as your teaching. You notice a lot of people, a lot of wise people, they say, the difficulties that I went through actually made me wiser. And I'm thankful for them now. You know, the hardships in relationships, or difficulties in maybe physical illness, or losing someone you love, or whatever else it is, could be financial or whatever. That dukkha, that suffering, when it's seen in the true light, is your teacher. So again, whether it's positive or negative, pleasant or unpleasant, my job here, my practice is to watch and learn. And then what I do is I carry this into my life. And I wake up in the morning and I say, I don't know what's going to happen today. Or I step out the front door and I say, I don't know what's going to happen today. I start my car and I say, I don't know what's going to happen today. I don't know where I'm going to go. I don't know what I'm going to see. I used to intentionally practice this. I'd go, and I still do. I'll just walk out of the door and I'll say, I don't know which way I'm going to go. And I'll just go one way. And if I get lost, I have a luxury that most people don't have. I have time. And in that sense, I'm really very rich, in fact. I'm more rich than pretty much anybody I know because I have time. And, you know, I was listening to Tony Robbins, and he interviewed something like the 50 richest people in the world to find out what all their secrets are. And he said they're all billionaires. They all know, you know, business and whatever. And the only thing they don't have and that they want is time. It's pretty interesting, isn't it? You become a billionaire, the thing that seems that most people in this world are chasing after, to have all this money, and then it's like, well, I haven't got time to use it. Okay, they could make time, but they're caught up in their money-making business or industry. Look at me, I'm just a Dharma worker, an ex-monk. But I'm actually very rich. I'm very rich in time. So sometimes I leave and I just say, I don't know which way I'm going to go. I'll work it out when I get there. And I say, am I going left or right? And I just go left. And I find out I should have gone right, and it's like, okay, I learnt now that I should go right. Okay, I got that. Pleasant or unpleasant, right or wrong, positive or negative. It's like, it doesn't matter actually. This is karma. It doesn't matter whether you go left or right, whether it's right or wrong, whether it's good or bad, pleasant or unpleasant. If you go left and you have that experience, that's your karma. And maybe you learn, oh, if it's unpleasant, and you say, well, I won't go left next time. Okay, good. You lived and learned. You learned from your experience. You go right and you find out, oh, it's pleasant, I like it. Ah, okay, go right next time. So we're just living and learning. We're living in the experiment. To me, life is an experiment. So this is where freestyle Vipassana, to me, I'll come back to my teacher. He used to very often, and I'm sure he still does, he would recite and repeat the principle of Vipassana. The principle of Vipassana is to observe any mental or physical process or phenomenon, as he says, that arises predominantly in the present moment. The principle of Vipassana meditation is to observe any mental or physical phenomenon that predominantly arises in the present moment. The predominantly is just to make it easy for you, for us. What's predominant now? Just ask yourself, just check in with yourself. What's predominant in your experience now? What could you say is the most predominant experience in your body and mind now? It's nice, isn't it? Do you see? I could see your minds working. It's beautiful. Did you feel it for yourself? You just introspected yourself. You just went internally and you said, oh, what's the most predominant thing in my body and mind right now? That's the meditation. That's the practice of Vipassana. It's too freaking easy. Or, I should say, it's too simple. It's so simple. It may not be easy because we're struggling and we're trying, oh, what's that principle again? I have to get the principle right. Oh, I have to do it right. Oh, then I have to, prove it to my teacher how good I am at it and blah, blah, blah. What's the principle? What is the most predominant phenomenon or experience in my body and mind now? And if you ask it again now, it's probably different to what it was even 1 minute ago. Sometimes, well, this is the practice actually, and it's one thing that all of my teachers taught, continuity of mindfulness. Not just being mindful over here and a little bit over there and, yes, that's good, but this is why we go on meditation retreats, so that we can actually get some momentum and even live a whole day of relatively continuous mindfulness. You wake up in the morning, you're on retreat, you wake up and you look around, you go, I'm on retreat. I have to be mindful. That was the beautiful thing about being a Buddhist monk, is that you're always wearing these robes. So you're always being reminded, hey, you're a monk. And in my case, my teacher was a Vipassana teacher. So my training was, when I'm again aware that I'm a monk, then I'm aware that I need to be mindful. When you wake up in the morning on retreat, you go, yeah, that's right, I'm on retreat. Have to be mindful. Get out of bed mindfully. Stand up mindfully. Go to the bathroom mindfully. Open and close the door mindfully. Then it becomes freestyle. Do you see this? Most people think Vipassana means to sit on your butt with your legs crossed and your eyes closed. Or sometimes I like to say, with your legs closed and your eyes crossed. It takes a little while for that to trickle through, to sit with your legs closed and your eyes crossed. By the way, that wasn't an instruction. You don't have to do that. Certainly, you can try it. It's freestyle. If you'd like to sit with your legs closed and your eyes crossed, go right ahead. It's an experiment just to see what happens. So, this freestyle, it's about flowing into your daily life. Vipassana, and even the teaching of the Buddha, when you look at the Satipatthana Sutta, from where Vipassana was extracted, Vipassana is a fairly modern teaching, by the way. The Buddha wasn't teaching directly Vipassana, but he taught Satipatthana. Satipatthana is many different ways of being mindful. mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of feelings, mindfulness of mental states, mindfulness of the Dhamma itself, the teachings and the various modes and categories of the Buddha's teachings that lead to enlightenment. So this satipatthana is not just saying, oh, you have to sit on your butt for, 1 hour, 2 hours or something. There's no teaching that says that. There is a teaching in the Anapanasati Sutta, and it's the beginning of the Satipatthana Sutta. Go to a quiet place. Sit down cross-legged. Observe your breath coming in, the breath going out. If the breath is short, know the breath is short. If the breath is long, know that the breath is long. Know your breath as it really is. This is the beginning, the training of the mind to observe the sensation of the breath, like we did tonight. But then the Buddha extends that and says whether you're sitting, standing, walking or lying down, the 4 postures of humans. We're always in one of these 4 postures. You haven't got much choice. You can be halfway in between if you like. You can do yoga or, some other crazy positions or something. But generally speaking, we're only in one of these 4 postures. We're either sitting, we're standing, we're walking, or we're laying down. So very fundamental. But even when do you ever really just sit down and say, I'm sitting? Just that enough awareness. This is the sitting posture. Body's sitting now. This is the sensation, the experience of sitting. Or standing and you say, this is just standing. Feel the connection with the earth, the body, upright as it is. Or walking, noticing the displacement of the energy, the displacement of the weight, the movement, the transference of the steps, the contact with the earth, the movement of the muscles and such in the body. And the laying down, not just laying down to go to sleep, but laying down with awareness, full awareness. And then the Buddha goes into all the other daily activities. When you go somewhere, when you come back, when you're carrying something, when you're eating, drinking, even when you're going to the toilet, all of these processes should be observed. People don't understand that that is meditation. Or meditation, as we are discussing it here, in mindfulness meditation, sati in the word in Pali language, sati, mindfulness, awareness, attention, must be brought into everything as much as possible. Mental states, physical processes. Driving the car, sitting on the BTS, ordering your food, smelling the food as you're walking down the street in the various street stalls, listening to the noisy motorbike, smelling the smells from the drains, seeing your thoughts zapping through your mind, feeling emotions come up, watching the processes, seeing how all this works. This is Vipassana. It's life. It's the moment-to-moment observation of life. To me, this is like, there isn't anything else that we actually should really be doing. It's like, this should be our full-time job. To be present. And then it doesn't really matter where you are present. You could be in prison. You could be laying in a hospital bed. You could be laying on a beach on some tropical island somewhere. You could be in perfectly physical health, perfect physical health. Doesn't matter whether you're young or old, it doesn't matter whether what your religious beliefs are. And this is the beauty of the Buddha's teachings, it's fully universal. Because it's about humans. It's about human nature, it's about body and mind. It's applicable to everybody. Why? Because karma and the natural laws of the universe are applicable to everybody. They apply equally to not only humans but all living beings. You can't escape that. Nobody can. And this is also that coming back to that meaning of dharma, dhamma, is the universal truth, if you like, the natural law, the way things really are. So it doesn't matter whether you do practice any types of vipassana. Go and try as many different types as you like. It really doesn't matter. But just realize that the technique is not the end in itself. The technique is not the answer. The technique is only a way to lead you to the truth. So then it doesn't really matter which technique you use. But we need open-mindedness. And this is where a lot of religions and, let's say, sects or devotional following of teachers or gurus or other such things, people kind of get stuck in the practice. And even I see this in Theravada Buddhism as well, that many people will just, out of reverence for their teacher, they will simply follow the technique and just keep doing the same technique. And that's okay if it works for you. But if at any time you feel that your meditation is not working, then you need to switch it up. You need to change it round. Go to another teacher. Go somewhere else. Even some Vipassana teachers will tell you, if you go to another Vipassana, you can't come back to us. And it's like, really? Do you think the Buddha would have said that? Oh, if you go off and practice Sikhism or Jainism, or you go off with the fire worshippers for 6 months or something, and then you want to come back, do you think the Buddha's going to say, oh, no, you can't come back. You got fire worshipping in your robes. I can smell it from here. It's like the Buddha was not going to care about where you're from or whatever. Even the Buddha completely smashed the caste system in India. He let anybody come to his trainings and teachings and practices. So it's proof that the teachings go beyond cultural barriers, go beyond religious barriers, go beyond racial barriers, and that at the end we really are all human beings. We are experiencing suffering to some extent or another. And the Buddha has very clearly mapped out and shown a way to become free from suffering. So if you would like to do that, then Vipassana is definitely one of the paths that can lead you to this. So as you can see, I'm quite good at talking. I can talk a lot, and I could go on for a long time, but there's a gentleman over here with a microphone in his hand, and it looks like he's ready to say something. So I'll stop talking and I'll start listening.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jeff. I'm really sorry I have to get up and kind of announce that this is the end of the evening.
Oh, is it?
We do have to leave this room by 8, and it's just a few minutes to 8. But fortunately, first of all, let's thank Jeff for another excellent talk, a really very inspiring one. And let's be happy that exceptionally we have another talk of Jeff.
Yes.
Not like we normally do on Mondays, but coming Friday, Jeff will do another talk.
Here.
About the mind. He is labeling, he's still doing some labeling. He labeled it a dragon. And how do we tame and how do we train our dragon?
Yes,
So that will be the topic of the talk this Friday. It will be up on our Viva website and Facebook tomorrow. And then hopefully we'll have some time for Q&A. Although I really very much appreciate the talk, and it will I also don't know that a lot of you will have some time. Would love to ask some questions. Maybe you can ask a few while we're busy cleaning up the room. Then after Jeff's talk on Friday, next week, Monday, we'll be back with our founder, Pandit, who will do the Monday talk on next Monday. Then on the practical side, as always, there are a few donation boxes outside. If you appreciate what Jeff has been doing, if you appreciate the room being made available to us, please put some money in the donation boxes. And it would also be really nice if you help us to clean up the room. If we collect the seats and bring them to the front of the room, we can put them outside. And the white chairs, with the exception of 6, will have to go downstairs. So please leave 6 white chairs here, and the other ones have to go downstairs. And then last but not least, like I asked last week, we need some additional volunteers. Happily, one person already said yes, I'm willing to help in April. We have a very small team at the moment. Some of us will be traveling in April, so to set up the room, clean up the room, things like that, it would be really very great if at least 1 or 2 of you say, yes, I'm volunteering to help out. And you can either address me or Tom or Vera or best to mention who you are and what you are willing to do. With that, thank you all very much.
Thank you. Oh, cheers. Yes, we are going to eat something and socialize a little bit. If you'd like to come, feel free to join us. I have a Instagram called Freestyle Vipassana. Yeah, if I'm doing a retreat, it'll be on Instagram. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I haven't got one planned yet. Oh, well, I am in Turkey. I've got 4 or 5 retreats coming up in Turkey in April. No, never been to the States. People ask me, but they don't properly ask me. Yeah. You're very welcome. Yeah, good to see you.
Sorry, next event, meditation. When do you have?
On Friday.
On Friday.
Yeah, here.
Friday. This month.
Next month I'm not in Thailand. I'm going away. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Friday on this month.
This week.
With
Yeah.
on Friday.
Yeah.
Oh, Friday on the this month. This month. On this.